Hi everyone, welcome back. For today's lesson, we are going to be doing a bit of grammar practice and we're going to be focusing on the present continuous or the present progressive tense. And some students think this is a bit of a difficult tense to use, but actually it's very, very easy and I'm going to show you why it's easy. So before we get started, don't forget that you can put on the subtitles at the bottom right-hand corner of the video if you don't understand what I'm saying. So we're going to start with the affirmative form of the present continuous, which just means the positive form of the sentence. So firstly, of course, you can have I plus am, or you can have you, we, they plus are, and lastly you can have he, she, it plus is. And of course then you're going to add the verb plus the ing continuous form. So let me give you a few examples. I am watching TV right now. We are eating outside at the moment. He is sleeping in bed right now. And on to the next one, we have the negative form of the present continuous. So of course, you just make this negative by adding not after the initial verb. So for example, you're going to say, I am not, or you, we, they are not, and he, she, it is not. So let me give you some examples. I am not doing my homework yet. They are not watching a film tonight. And she is not talking to her right now. So just a useful tip for you guys. Remember that when you are speaking, it's better to use the contraction form of the verb plus the negative. So normally when we speak, we don't say I am not. We just say I'm not. Or with we would say we aren't, or he isn't, for example. So we make it a lot shorter when we speak. And the last form is the interrogative form of the present continuous. So this just means the question. So for example, you would have am I, you would have are you, they, or we, and is he, she, or it. Of course, then you're going to add the verb plus the ing, and then you finish it off with a question mark at the end. So let's see some examples. Are you doing that essay this evening? Or is she taking her dog for a walk right now? Okay, so let's talk about how and when you should be using the present continuous tense. So of course you should be using it when you are talking about something that is happening right now. So if you see the words now, at the moment, or right now, then you should definitely be using the present continuous tense. So let me give you two more example sentences. She is eating dinner right now and cannot answer the phone. Or are the kids swinging right now? I haven't seen them for a few minutes. It's important to also note that you can use the present continuous with temporary events. So for example, for events that are only going to be happening for a short amount of time, and they are not a set event. So let me give you some examples. Julia's working at an animal shelter at the moment, or Tony's studying a new language at the moment. So as you can see, we've used at the moment, which means that it's only happening right now, and it's probably likely to finish sometime in the future. And another way that you can use the present continuous is if you are talking about a new habit or a pattern. So let me give you some examples. Nowadays, people are writing a lot less emails than they were before, or you are always running late to get your bus to school. So as you can see in the first one, we used nowadays, again using the word now, which then tells us that this is something that's happening right now. And with the second one, we've said you always, which means that it is a habit and it is always happening. And the last way that you can use the present continuous is if you are talking about future plans. So I'll give you some examples. I am coming to the Christmas dinner this evening. Barcelona is playing with Chelsea tomorrow. Or when we arrive at the airport, we're not taking the bus because I don't like travelling by bus. So as you can see, in the first sentence, we use the word evening, which tells us that this is something that's happening later. And in the second example, we use the word tomorrow. So again, it's talking about something that's happening tomorrow. So now I'm going to discuss some of the verbs that you cannot use the present continuous with. And these are more likely to be the stative verbs. So let's go through a few examples. So firstly, we have verbs that are referring to the way that you think or the way that you feel. So for example, to believe, to love, to like, to hate, to wish, to want, to understand, and the list goes on. However, just like I mentioned, you really can't use these in the present continuous tense. So I'll give you a few examples. So for example, you can't say, I am loving my boyfriend. You would have to say, I love my boyfriend. Or you wouldn't say, I am wanting to play tennis. You would just say, I want to play tennis. And secondly, we have verbs of senses. So for example, to smell and to taste are a few examples. And you couldn't say something like, I am smelling my food right now. You would have to just say, I smell my food right now. So again, it needs to be kept in the present simple tense. And just a few other examples of very common verbs that you can't use as well would be to disagree, to agree, to know, to need, and to own as well. So you couldn't say, I am understanding you, or I am knowing her, which I've heard quite a lot of students use before. You would have to use them in the simple tense and say, for example, I understand you, or I know her, or I knew her in the past tense as well. Okay guys, so that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see another part of this video, don't forget to leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.